for the very first time in my life, I considered, you know what? I'm gonna read the enemy's book, the Quran. Why not? My name is Bobby. Guys, this video is long overdue. I am a Christian Orthodox in fact. My parents are from the Balkans, from northern Macedonia, and I have been baptized as a Christian Orthodox from birth. Back then, Yugoslavia was still under communist rule, and therefore it was illegal for me to get baptized, so we had a priest coming over to our flat that baptized me undercover, so to speak. So therefore all of my family members are identified as Christian Orthodox. However, most of them are not practicing like most people nowadays all around the world. People became very secularized and therefore they're not truly practicing Christians in that sense. I grew up in Germany, in Nordrhein-Westfalen. In Nordrhein-Westfalen we have a huge Turkish population. So I had a lot of Muslim friends, but at the same time I observed that most of those Muslim friends got into some sort of criminal activity at the time. Many of them were smoking weed, many of them were selling drugs, many of them were into prostitution, robberies, gang violence and whatnot. So my experience with Muslims was pretty negative after all, I have to say. Therefore I had no interest whatsoever to look into Islam. In my 20s I kind of let go of my faith and I dabbled in the New Age. So I started traveling the world. I visited many places, many different cultures, saw different religions and was convinced that religion is just that. Cultural norms that people adhere to, and I don't want to be part of that. I saw myself as above that in a sense. I saw myself as the enlightened one that doesn't need any of that. Until I returned back to Europe, to Bulgaria, and I felt that yearning for God. And I felt empty, I felt broken. All of those things that I tried led me nowhere. I felt as if I had failed, I felt abandoned, I felt left alone, so therefore I sought God. Naturally, I returned to Christian Orthodoxy, and at that time it felt like a homecoming. It felt like something that I used to know, but at the same time have never truly explored. As I said, I was identified as a Christian Orthodox, but I never really studied the religion. So now I return to it, and now I really want to know what's up. I really want to understand my own religion. So I started digging deep and I found out about the Trinity. I already made a video about this. Guys, for 2 years I was battling with this thought and I was trying to understand the Trinity and I was trying to make myself believe the Trinity, but after all of those intentions have failed miserably because I couldn't convince myself of a three-headed God. I was seeking God in its unity, in its oneness, if you will, and not God as some sort of deity that I cannot comprehend. I always remind myself of the saying, your God is not a God of confusion. So it was very confusing to me, after all. Hence, for the very first time in my life, I considered, you know what? I'm gonna read the enemy's book, the Quran. Why not? Because I started watching David Wood videos. And David Wood was so confident in his message that Muhammad was this degenerate guy and Islam was this evil religion coming from Satan himself. The biggest deception known to mankind. The real Antichrist is Islam. So I got convinced even more about my own faith. I became arrogant, pompous. I said, God brought me back to orthodoxy, the real religion. He brought me back to the truth. And now I can truly see that Islam is from the devil. And because I have those eyes to see, I'm gonna read the Quran and dismantle it. Many Muslims during that time reached out to me via YouTube. Many followers of mine are Muslim and said, hey, give it a shot. I said, no worries. I'm gonna check it out and I'm gonna find the devil in your book. So I opened the Quran and I started reading. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. That was surprising to me. It really was. I know to most Muslims this is simply common sense. They're wondering what I'm talking about. But for me as a Christian, I didn't remember a page in the Bible that addresses God like that first. I kept on reading and I noticed that every surah, every chapter starts like that. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the merciful. And I was impressed. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. You should address God first. You should give praise to the Lord first before you start talking about Him. That makes sense. I couldn't find anything like that in the Bible. So I continued reading. So devote yourself to the religion of monotheism, the natural instinct Allah, God, has instilled in mankind. Yet again, simple but powerful. It rings true to me. It makes sense that we have a natural disposition in which we seek God. I think anybody can relate to that. When you were a child, most of us, we knew that there was a God. The oneness of God was crystal clear to us. We didn't think about other deities. We didn't think about a three-headed God system. With this, I already agree. I want to make that very, very clear here. I do not believe in the Trinity yet again. Even as a Christian, that doesn't add up to me. That doesn't make sense. Therefore, when this natural predisposition is described within the Quran, it resonates with me and it makes sense. Anyways, I continued reading. Whoever strives only for himself. Allah, God, is independent of the beings. And again I had to admit, powerful man, powerful. God is beyond all beings. He is not the creation. God himself is beyond all comprehension. God himself is beyond all beings. He is indeed the only reality. This is the way that I saw God, that I experienced God to this very day. Nothing else is real but God. And that already excludes a Trinity, and of course it excludes any type of being. Even the messengers of God, even though they are exalted figures, are nothing but that. Exalted figures, creations of the Almighty. That is crystal clear to me. And when I saw it in the Quran, I was shocked. Yes, I was shocked. Because Islam for me was a violent religion, a religion of the enemy, a religion of the devil, not a religion of the oneness of God. The oneness of God that everybody comprehends. Even my father, who is a Christian Orthodox, he doesn't go to church. He never read the Bible. When I ask him about God, he tells me that God is one, that God is the most powerful.